Hello and welcome to Zawadi Show, a show that will revolve around politics, entertainment, business and technology. I will be showing you some of my best episodes in this segment. On my film industry show, we were joined by a TV producer. We will check that, but first Yvonne Thuku on the stage of the film industry.
The film production has grown tremendously over the years, with many movies being released each and every day. The highest number of movie watchers out there. Where do you belong to? Piracy has become more of a problem in the past years than it has ever been before. Specifically, movie piracy. This act of pirating is becoming more and more common every year, and most people do it mindlessly, not realizing what it costs. It is extremely harmful to the film industry, and its effects are larger than anyone could imagine. Some people tend to start their own pirating businesses. They buy a bunch of blank DVDs, the same amount of DVD cases, and a computer that can burn a DVD. From there, they must find a source to get the pirated movies from.
Welcome to the entertainment show. My name is Mwende Mutisia. Today we will be talking about the film industry and the rate of its growing with regards to piracy. Today we are honored to have with us a TV producer, a communication researcher and a journalist who has broad experience in both the national and regional levels in TV and film productions. Thank you for joining us. So tell me a bit more about the film industry and you as one of the people spearheading the film industry. What is your take on the film industry currently?
Well, I must say that the film industry in the country is at the runway. What we mean by that is that there's been a lot of collaborative efforts with both internal stakeholders and external stakeholders to actually make sure that we take off film from where it is to a bigger regional level. And what am I talking about? I've been fortunate to attend the Cannes Film Festival, which is the biggest in the world. And when you see people trading and buying content and making acquisitions or asking producers to make content just at a one-touch button, it's very exciting. So for us guys, we should be able, give a time frame, but I'm not specific to say which one, but that is the kind of market that we want to bring into the country, because we believe in one, film industry is one of the biggest and most creative industries that we have across the world. It employs a whole lot of people. And when you talk about like last year we might have had Hollywood coming to the country. So you can imagine they're coming into the country to shoot in Aberdeen ranges. We're talking about what? 30 people within the Aberdeen ranges. We're talking about hotels, taxis, caddy boys. I mean, it's a whole lot creative sector for employment. So it's the whole idea of bringing in international projects into the country so that people can be able to get skills, but bigger than that, the entire industry can benefit from film projects in the country. And the reason why I say it's on the runway is because there have been a lot of efforts across all sectors of the government and probably the private sector to one, introduce what you call incentive package. How does the incentive work is that you come into the country and shoot, we give you little taxation, we bring in equipment for free, we train our local crew, that kind of thinking, so that if we give you such an incentive, then we see a trickle effect in terms of what we're having on the ground. So there's been a lot of effort. I know there is a film policy currently sitting at a very high government level. If that is approved, then we should be able to see the fast tracking the process. So I think it's an industry that we need to look out for. It hasn't been exploited for what it's supposed to be, and if we put it in the right way, we definitely be going to take it in the right manner.
So you have clearly said there's an effort being put in actually growing the film industry, but there's definitely challenges in any kind of situation. What would you say is the challenge in the film industry? What is hindering the film industry from moving as fast as we would like?
Of course, I always tell people that in life, if you don't get challenges, then there's no growth. So one of the things is that you need to understand that film, let's just take it back from, we are Africans and we are an oral culture. So we were used to telling people our stories. And that's why you hear even your grandmother will tell you a story. So now we are busy telling the people, no, stop telling stories, let's put them in film so that we can archive this for future generations. So So one, that is technological transfer. Most of the people didn't have the technology. But now it's become so easy that with a phone you can be able to film. So we can be able to say that that is one of the challenges that were there, but it's quickly being phased out. Then of course, bring it off to a national conversation is that I must say that the people I've interacted with, especially from a government perspective, they don't seem to understand film. And rightly so, because it's a new thing that people are getting into. So when you go to have a conversation vis-a-vis somebody for Kenya Tourism Board, they can already see the effects of tourists flocking into the country. They can't be able to relate to what is film. It's not something that you can quantify, so that becomes a problem. However, there's been a lot of conversations that are ongoing to actually sensitize most of these people what it means. And I'll give you an example. 2015, we had Sense8 coming to shoot in the country. That was a very big project. They were asking for them to be given the airspace, to be with Kenyan roads, to be given, in terms of traffic, you're supposed to close the gloves in and roundabout, give them traffic marshals. This is all government facilitation. And of course, all the laws that we know people are asking, why should we give this for free? Because they're used to trading. But then we equally, in terms of a conversation, and ask Sense8, so what are you bringing on the table? So they tell us the number of viewers that who's going to watch this series across the world is this number of people, therefore there's going to be an interest in Nairobi. There is good publicity, there's all these things that come with it. So, talk of a duration of what? 3, 4, 4 months of knocking on doors, and finally all the agencies were together and they opened these doors. And you should have seen how sensational it was. So it's efforts that are being put in. I know they cannot be seen as fast because we are looking for fast things, but slowly we can be able to change that conversation, and I can guarantee you that the conversation is happening behind doors. It is.
As a TV producer, piracy seems to be on the increase. There's so many shops in town selling pirated movies. What are the measures being put in place to ensure the pirating of movies come to an end now that you work hand in hand with Kenya Film Commission?
Well, I think one is people need to understand what is piracy in the first place. Then I think also producers and scriptwriters and the people behind the scenes pretty much need to understand what is their copyright law, because most of the people engage in work that actually they don't seem to understand what is it that is theirs and what is it that can be put in the public viewing. So first, and of course for me, I also learned this very late in my career. So I always tell people, one, when you create content, have you copyrighted it? Let's start from there. If you don't actually have the copyright mark, you have no absolute reason to actually go and make noise and say it's being pirated. Just forget it. So working backwards is you need to understand, I'm creating content that can be sold, therefore it needs to be given a trademark, it is by copyright. That's the first thing. Then second of all, again, and another time to give a hit to the creative industry is for them just to quickly correct some of the things that they actually do. And those are some of the mistakes that I also walked in through. Is that majority of the people don't understand what is marketing and distribution. So fine, you create, because you're so desperate to have my fans and the audience to watch your content, you're quick to create it, you're quick to put it on YouTube, you're quick to create the hula baloo that goes with the show, isn't it? Of course, a clever person somewhere will pick it up and download it and sell it off. So one, what are your marketing and distribution channels? Do you understand how that works? Because you can be able to make something popular, but it's not in the market. So there's a demand for it, therefore you sell it. So people don't understand that gimmick of selling and marketing, what is their end product. That should be another lesson that they need to do. Then thirdly, which of course is one in terms of our audiences. Why are we demanding so much of foreign content as opposed to demanding what is our local content so that we can be able to end piracy? So again, that needs to be a question. Then of course, fourthly, there's been also a lot of deliberate efforts to do what you call a piracy law. But then piracy law does not just work in the Kenyan territory. It has to also work at an international territory. You ought to be able to look at any other agencies and see how is it that they're able to do that, because piracy is not just a Kenyan thing, it's quite a global thing, isn't it? And I know for a fact they're also right now policies that have been drafted, again waiting approval to certain quarters within the government setup. If that becomes law, then it's going to be very effective. But the question is, even the people who are busy pirating and downloading these films, are they aware that they're denying the creator some level of revenue? You know, that needs to be the other conversation that needs to happen. If that can happen, then we need to change how we're operating business. One, I'm sure the people who do those DVD shops, they have licenses. Where are they getting the licenses from? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Of course, they have internet. How are they able to download it? So there should be a certain revenue that is cut off them for selling these DVDs to the Kenyans. Then this money is recouped and given back as rights to the producers. Then the producers can be able to earn what is their right. Because again, if you go out to the DVD person, they'll tell you they're doing you a favor. In the first place, your movie was all being distributed. So they're distributing it for point and say that marketing and distribution is an area that people need to understand, and they need to understand it so well. How do I market my product in such a way that it creates a demand but no piracy to it? Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us for the interview.
You're welcome.
I'm driver number one in Masai Mara. Masai. I'll be back, guys. Mzee, gari yako nilienda. Najua.
Umemaliza?
Saidia simu mzee.
Gari iko tayari. Leta hiyo 500. Leta pesa.
Iko hii tu.
Nzuri sana. Sawa.
Asante. Nimeanza.
Kama ni wewe, bana vita ndia hii.
In my technology segment, I had the privilege to talk to a tech guru who gave us an insight on what it means to be a web developer. That was quite interesting. Take a look. It is an open space for Kenya's web and phone programmers to meet and share ideas. To get more insight, I talked to a web developer.
Yeah, my name is Nelson Kwaje. I'm a social entrepreneur, tech evangelist. I run a company called Web for All. We founded it with my co-founder like 2 years ago. So right now we do ICT solutions that are at the intersections between development, that's development of countries, and also development in the context of small organizations, and ICT. So we provide IT solutions in that area, mostly mobile apps. We do also websites and also other hardware-based ICT solutions.
What kind of applications have you come up with?
Like over the last year, we have developed one application called the Peace App. Just visit thepeaceapp.org, one word. It's a project that we developed in collaboration with UNESCO and then UNDP, the United Nations Development Program. It's basically like a crash course in peace and conflict resolution that the UN wanted to develop for students, largely young youth who want to become peace ambassadors and probably provide conflict resolution kind of advice in the context of the local population. Yeah. So we worked with them over like 6 months to develop this this curriculum, then customize it, make it user friendly, and then put it into this mobile app that anyone can access, and then go through the course and get the assessment and everything through a mobile phone. Yeah. That's just one example there. But we also developed, we are working on a mobile app also for literacy, which we're supposed to pilot it in the coming few months.
And what is your target group when you come up with these applications?
So like our target group for the applications, like it usually varies, but like for the application the target group was young people between the ages of 16 and 28, but who have the assumptions is like this age group have access to smartphones and then have reasonable internet connection and also are constantly engaged in social media discussions.
What are the challenges you've gone through?
That's a big question. A lot of them, but most of the challenges that rely like for young entrepreneurs, it's like three things. And these are what I call it like kind of the three shortages that you deal with. Like you mostly have like you have three resources that are basically what you need to run your organization. That is money, skills, and time. Skills is like in terms of acquisition of the skills, but also in terms of human capital, like how many people do you have who can do this task if you want to scale up. So whenever you find, every time you're starting, you tend to have, provided you're a student, you tend to have less time, but mostly if you're not a student, you tend to have a lot of time, but have very little shortage of skill. You don't understand most of the things you're getting into. And then also you don't have money. So what you have to do is most of the time you're very stressed running around, trying to find the least costly way of implementing things and providing ideas, and also trying to bootstrap, which is basically means using all the cash that you have at hand and the cash that you can get from friends or whatever to run your organization. So there was serious time that I ran out of cash totally and had to evacuate the office, and then because I didn't pay 1 month rent, they took all the furniture that I had in the office there, and we had to ship out and kind of hibernate for some 1 or 2 months before we get back into the game. And there are also times where we took projects that we had the idea of doing it, but we did not exactly have the skill in-house to take such projects. So you find that you're like Googling and running over tutorials and asking friends about things, and you're learning on the job when you have a client who is constantly at your doorstep and asking.
Art is magic. Art is beautiful. It is a form of expressing one's feelings. In my business segment, I was joined by an artist entrepreneur who told us more on how to focus on art as a career. We were also joined by an art enthusiast, Wendy, who took us through her journey as an artist. So when did you realize that art is what you wanted to do?
Well, that's a hard question. I don't know exactly when, but I remember being young and saying I want to be an artist. And there were many other careers, opportunities. I think it's just when I finished secondary is when I thought maybe it can be a serious career.
What inspired you to start it? What inspired you to become an artist?
Many things, many factors. My primary school, went to a school where art was paramount completely. The teacher used to use art to teach English, and I just fell in love with it.
When you were in high school, you know how people talk about how they want to be doctors, they want to be teachers. Did you know was your say that you wanted to be an artist?
Yeah, one of my things I was always thinking about is becoming an artist.
You didn't think of any white collar job at any point?
White collar job, no.
How were you able to take art as a full-time career?
I think it was just through trial and error. After finishing college, I decided like I have a certificate. Let me try first finance, and then if it fails, I gave myself like 3 years. I was lucky to meet with the artists, work with many artists at the National Museum, and slowly from there, I just picked it up slowly. I knew it is a lot of work. It's not easy to sell a painting, it's not easy to show, but just by mixing with other artists, getting direction, information, slowly I just picked it up. Passion was first. The business angle came later because of necessity. Kilala Nja, you feel like you need to plan.
Yeah, you need to have paintings at the JKI, Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, and Java as well. How are you able to build up a reputable brand?
One of the things that happen also is what I paint also is basically what we see every day. And then I also try and work with the positive side of life. I did not plan exactly how to become, to make a brand. It is many factors that help me in that.
What motivated you to start an art studio?
Well, the studio space actually started like necessity also. I used to be at the Go Down Art Center and I was getting a lot of students because I do a TV show where I teach, I do a lot of workshops and people come to follow me to the studio. The space was quite small. So out of necessity, getting a big space, the railway came like a blessing.
Have you received any government funds, seeing that you have an art studio where you're able to mentor young people? It's more of like an initiative to mentor young people who want to get into art. I believe the government should be able to help because it's a mentorship initiative. Have you received any funds?
I have not received any money from government, and not only government but also donors. I have decided not to go that way. There are many organizations that depend on donors. And once you bring in a donor, they actually change your project because they have to know how their money is being used. You end up being an accountant, always accounting for this and that and that. So for me, deliberately, I have avoided that. The government should not always also depend. Is it Kennedy who said, don't think about what the government will do for you, but what you can do for the country. So for me, I go with that motto. I try my own sourcing funds and then help people, help artists. If an artist comes from Mombasa looking for me, I cannot turn them away. From Korogosho or from even Runda. It means the person has got passion and work ethic. It is not easy. The budget, of course, it means I cut back on other things. So like my personal life has to be sacrificed for that. Some luxuries you need to put away to put back into the studio. And hopefully people can get a career out of it. And many parents will come to my studio with a child and ask me, do you live on art? And I'm a studio, what do they think I'm doing? I live on art already. And if the child is also interested, the interest is more important, they can become an artist. Learning yourself is very important. Learning what is, putting your priorities right also. Sometimes we want luxuries more than our career, but I've learned from any career, the more you put into it, the more it will give you. Any career. If you leave it alone, it will leave you alone. Yes. So basically we don't do funding, we just work with and also it's a community. Somebody joins and they also start contributing with pain, time, energy, work.
And in the political segment, we looked at how social media has played a huge role in the way politicians relay information. Maringa, one of the aspirants, joined us. Very much for joining us in this segment. Today we'll be talking about leadership and social media. Thank you very much, Maringa, for joining us. What does leadership mean to you?
Leadership is the ability to spot a gap within the society, within a particular community that you exist, and coming up with a particular solution on how you can be able to deal with that particular problem that the people are facing. If you're able to spot a problem, come up with a solution, then that qualifies you to be a leader. Yes.
And you are one of the stars vying for the Gisa presidential seat. How did that come about?
Of course, we realized a few gaps here and there in student leadership that we intended to, of course, come on board and seal the gaps by providing more solutions to the students. Apparently, we never got to office, and we wish the guys who got to office the very best.
Now, as you are vying, you are definitely using different forms of medium to market yourself. how did you use social media to campaign?
First, their students, we never got to meet in person, but we were able to meet them on social media. Secondly, students who did not know what we had to offer also got to know what we were offering with a specific team on social media again. And thirdly, we also got to interact with the students who actually wanted to question what it is that we wanted to offer, and we were able to interact with them. We also got to get their feedback, which was also included in part of our manifesto. And so it was more of interaction with them, us giving them what we want to offer, and them giving us feedback on what they thought was the best thing.
Having vied for this position, is it a passion that started once you got into university, or have you been a leader somewhere else, probably in high school or somewhere else? Have you been in any leadership position?
Yes, I think I can trace my leadership back to class 7. That is when I was first appointed as a prefect in school. Then class 8, I got to become the head boy. Then Form 1, I became a prefect. Form 2, a prefect. Form 3, a prefect. Form 4, I was a deputy head boy. And then when I came to campus again, I got into various leadership positions. And so it is a continuous thing. It's something that started way back when I was in primary school.
So it's inborn, it's something that started. Does it run in the family?
Yes, my brother is at Moi University. He's the current finance director amongst the students. My sister was at Nairobi University. She was also a student leader amongst the students of the law campus. My small bro just joined USIU, and he's also into leadership. He will be vying in the next few months, so I think it's something that now has come of age within the family, and it's a nice thing. It teaches you to be responsible from a young age.
We just had the elections, and you know, elections, it's a win-lose situation, and unfortunately you are not able to clinch the seat. So what are your plans now that you are not able to get the seat? Are you planning to vie for the next seat, the next elections, or what are you trying to do next?
Okay, as at now, I wouldn't tell whether I'll be vying in the next election or not, but we have a few things we will be doing pertaining students' development. We will be having various visits to children's homes, and we'll also be organizing events where we'll be raising funds for the needy students within campus. We also realize that there is a student who walks from Imara Daima to Daystar every single day. Yes, they got a scholarship, their school fees is paid, but they don't have money to either pay their fare or their lunch. And so we'll be looking forward to seeing how we can at least sort some of the issues. And so we will be doing a few projects here and there that involve the students.
I feel like that's a good thing. In as much as you were not able to clinch the seat, you're still giving back to society, which I think is amazing. So now back to social media.
Yes.
Social media is important, yes, because we are able to connect with our friends, we're able to communicate and all those good things. But now, when the elections were ongoing here in school, there was information that was passed on WhatsApp that before even the election results were announced, that Team Alois had already won. So my question is, how did this happen? Is social media being used in the wrong way? Are people not responsible in the use of social media? What's your take on that?
You see, social media is a good tool where you get to interact with so many people, you get to communicate with various people, and information gets to be passed. At the same time, it's now beyond control. You can never control what goes into social media, because again, much as you'd hold me accountable, you wouldn't hold a next person accountable for information that they gave on my behalf. And so yes, at some point we felt as if it was used in a wrong way. At times you could post something on Facebook and then somebody from the other camp will answer in a pathetic way, and you'd wonder, what kind of a leadership are we portraying, and what kind of a leadership are we putting into office? Having said that, again, you can hold the leaders accountable, but you can never hold the supporters accountable, because the supporters have their own views. The supporters know why they follow a particular person, and so when a supporter answers you in a pathetic way, or maybe posts an abuse or anything of the sort, it's not just within school. Even outside there, we've had various supporters of various leaders hurling insults at various leaders, and there's nothing we can do about that. And so at times, people now need to go back to themselves and ask themselves, whatever I'm posting right now, will I want my kid to see this in the next 10, 15 years?
All the roads would lead our way.
Plan for a better house with Jubilee.
All the stars would guide us.
Plan your family's future with Jubilee.
There you have had it. We have come to the end of my show. Thank you very much for joining us for the Zawadi show.